Indiana leads by 11 with 5:48 remaining in the...
Caitlin Clark has battled plenty of challenges on the court, but nothing has frustrated fans more than the inconsistent and highly questionable officiating. From blatant missed calls to unnecessary technical fouls, it's starting to feel like the referees have a personal agenda against her. Is this just tough competition, or is there something deeper going on? Every time Clark steps onto the court, the energy in the arena is electric. Fans rise to their feet, anticipating her signature deep threes and jaw-dropping assists. But instead of focusing solely on her game, she constantly has to look over her shoulder, not just for defenders but for referees seemingly waiting to blow the whistle at the most questionable moments. The once roaring crowd frequently turns against the officials, booing calls that simply don't make sense.
Clark, harassed by Carrington, finds Boston. Clark gets hit in the face by Carrington and is down.
Indiana leads by 11 with 5:48 left in the second quarter. So what's really happening? Are these just bad calls, or is there a pattern of bias emerging? We're breaking down 10 of the most outrageous, game-changing calls that left fans, analysts, and even players completely baffled. And trust me, when we get to number 7, you won't believe how blatant this has become.
And Clark is still down after taking a shot following the pass to Boston.
Let's start with one of the most ridiculous no-calls in recent memory. It was September 22nd, the start of the playoffs. Indiana Fever versus the Connecticut Sun. The stakes were high, and all eyes were on Caitlin Clark, the league's most electrifying rookie. But instead of a thrilling showdown,
as everyone else has seen this angle, I'm calling her in, and I'm saying to her, I need answers.
Fans witnessed one of the most egregious officiating blunders of the season. Just minutes into the game, DiJonai Carrington lunged for the ball, but ended up striking Clark square in the eye. The impact left Clark momentarily dazed as she blinked, trying to regain her focus. The crowd waited for the whistle, and waited, and waited, but it never came.
Clark trying to get around Mabry. Clark to the rim, reverses it home through the...
Clark, harassed by Carrington, found Boston, got hit in the face, and went down. Fans erupted in outrage, expecting at least a foul call, if not a flagrant. But the refs? Silent. The game continued as if nothing had happened. Meanwhile, Clark, clearly affected by the hit, struggled to find her rhythm. She finished the first half shooting an uncharacteristic 1 for 9 from the field, including 0 for 6 from beyond the arc.
Another look here at the heavy contact.
A nasty bruise formed around her eye, a painful reminder of yet another missed call. The frustration among fans boiled over. Was this just playoff basketball, or was something else at play? Either way, the message was clear. Clark wasn't going to get any superstar treatment. If anything, she was on the receiving end of some of the worst no calls the league had to offer. Social media erupted, demanding accountability from the E-League. One outraged viewer called it the worst officiated basketball game of all time, while another slammed the refereeing as an absolute embarrassment.
For Alyssa Thomas.
Yeah, they're not going to look at this. They might.
It's got the fans here fired.
But despite the growing frustration, Caitlin Clark did what she does best. Kept her focus and continued battling. And the biased officiating didn't stop there. Throughout the game, Clark endured relentless physicality. Held, shoved, repeatedly hit, yet the whistle remained silent. No calls, no protection, just an expectation for her to play through it all. Take a look at this moment when Marina Mabre aggressively defended Clark as she earned her first postseason bucket. Clark drove to the rim, finished through contact, and still, no foul. Even the game's commentators couldn't ignore the excessive contact, calling attention to the blatant fouls. But the referees? indifferent. Clark, however, refused to let the missed calls define her.
Okay, by now I'm sure you've seen Skylar Diggins assault. Caitlin Clark after Indiana blew out Seattle.
She found other ways to contribute, proving, once again, why she's one of the toughest competitors in the league. But this wasn't just about one game. It was a glaring example of how officiating can shape outcomes and, more importantly, put players at risk. Then came another shocking moment of physicality that left fans questioning the line between aggressive defense and outright dangerous play.
Caitlin Clark gets hit with a technical.
In a matchup against the Connecticut Sun on August 28th, everything seemed normal until Alyssa Thomas bulldozed through Clark, delivering a shoulder check that sent her crashing to the floor.
Got a technical for basically being mad at myself because I missed the three and then I went and hit the backboard, and he told me it was disrespectful to the game of basketball.
The arena gasped in disbelief. The hit was brutal, yet somehow the officials only assessed a common foul. Fans were livid. "That's not basketball," one person tweeted. Another called it a cheap shot, pointing out how Thomas leaned in with her shoulder.
Had nothing to do with my team, had nothing to do with their reffing, had nothing to do with other team. It was just because I'm a...
The overwhelming consensus? That was a flagrant foul, and the failure to call it as such only deepened concerns about the officiating in the WNBA. Yet even after enduring relentless physicality, Clark refused to let it shake her confidence. She shook off the hit, got back on her feet, and went straight to work. Her ability to bounce back and stay locked in on the game was a testament to her mental toughness. Despite the blows, Clark continued making an impact, proving why she's one of the most determined athletes in the league.
Against left, goes around to Gumake, drives baseline, his shot rejected by Izzy.
And just when it seemed like Clark had overcome every challenge thrown her way, a new controversy emerged, this time from an unexpected source. Imagine this, a timeout, a fired-up rookie rallying her fans, and then, out of nowhere, a veteran, stepping in with a blatant shove. How would the referees react? The August 18th matchup against the Seattle Storm had already been an intense battle. With the game nearing its climax, Clark was near the Seattle bench, hyping up the crowd, feeding off the electric atmosphere. Then suddenly, Skylar Diggins Smith made her move. Without warning, she stepped up behind Clark and delivered a shoulder check, forcefully pushing her out of the way.
Clark turns on the Jets, Clark to the rim and blocked. Oh, Dolson got back. Clark thought there was a foul.
The initial excitement in the arena turned to stunned silence, quickly followed by a wave of angry boos. But the referees, once again, they let it slide. No foul, no warning, just silence. This moment instantly ignited a debate about sportsmanship and fairness. Fans flooded social media, demanding answers. How is this not a foul? One asked. Another questioned why certain players seem to get away with blatant aggression while Clark gets scrutinized for the slightest reactions. By now, you've probably seen Skylar Diggins Smith's shove, and yet, while her push went completely unnoticed, by officials, Clark's own displays of emotion, like lightly tapping the padding of the basketball hoop in frustration, earned her a quick technical foul. The inconsistency is undeniable. So, the question remains, is this just another example of poor officiating, or is there a deeper issue at play within the WNBA? 10 controversial calls, 10 jaw-dropping moments. From brutal body checks to blatant no calls, Caitlin Clark has faced it all. But through each challenge, she proved why she's the future of the WNBA. These weren't just bad calls, they were moments that sparked outrage, ignited debates, and forced fans to question the integrity of WNBA officiating. But here's the real takeaway. Clark's resilience never wavered. No matter how many hits she took, how many times the whistle stayed silent, or how unfair the treatment seemed, she adapted. She found ways to excel, even when the odds and the referees seemed stacked against her. So, what does this mean for the future of the WNBA? How does the league ensure fair play while maintaining the intensity that makes basketball so thrilling? We've broken down the calls. We've seen the hits. We've watched Clark fight through it all. But now, it's your turn to weigh in. Is the WNBA failing to protect its biggest star? Or is this just part of the game? You decide. Let us know in the comments. Like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss out. Click the video on the screen, and we'll see you in the next one.